doors open. But that was not the case. I should not have to sacrifice my career in order to deal with someone else's issues. In 2008, my friend was abducted at gunpoint in a club out south where she worked, and a ransom had to be paid for her safe return. Now, we can sit and talk about praying, and praying is a wonderful thing. However, we cannot pray the guns out of these savages' hands.
Well, good evening. I'm taking that you're keeping the same count that I'm keeping, because so far we're going to get this passed. With that being said, I just want to very seriously and very honestly, as a strong member of the black community, to those who are against guns, please understand that intense desire remove intelligence. I just want to say a few things real quick, and I'll just ask that you reflect on this, okay? Guns are only tools that's used. If it wasn't a gun, it would be something else, as evident in the young brother that was beat to death with a stick. You also need to remember that the police are not responsible for your individual safety, and when it comes down to it, the question becomes, would you rather have a cop on the phone or a gun in your hand? No, let's look at this very seriously, because when the grits hit the fan, all of these theories and desires and wishes, because hope is not a solid strategy. Criminals, by definition, will have guns. Currently, you have the opportunity to move as an unarmed victim, or either arm yourself and then potentially be a felon, which would then cause for many of you to lose your jobs, and in my case, your status as a student. If a deranged gunman happened to come in this target-rich environment right now, I would probably think the majority of us, or in our home, would probably desire to have a gun in our hand just so that we can have a fighting chance. If you do not choose to do that, I can respect that, because every man, woman, and child only live their own life and have to die their own death. However, this comes back to what someone else was saying about choice. I think the young man that spoke a little earlier. Do not take the choice away from individuals who have chosen to defend themselves, their rights, and their family. And I think I'm going to close there. I'd just like to thank you. And this is a matter of life and death. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm not a public speaker, but I think it's important that y'all hear from me, because I'm 19 years old.
All right, yes.
And that being said, I'm the age group that gets targeted with these guns in Chicago. Do you know how many kids down the street every day? Come on now, like a 13-month-old baby. She was not, what was her name? Melanie was not the target. So that being said, like everybody's talking about, well, they'll do it with knives, they'll do it with this and that, but those, how many accidents do you hear about somebody getting stabbed on accident? No, you don't hear that. You hear bullets, because bullets have no name. I wrote down a lot of stuff. I gotta try to figure out what I have. Okay, so we're talking about how the criminals, they, gonna use their mindset. But what sense does it make to put more guns out there for them to be able to get? That does not make sense. And then I also heard a man say something about, well, I gotta protect mine. What kind of morals do we have in this country today? That's all I have to say.
I've been listening. My name is Victoria Brady. I've been listening to most of what has been said this evening, and what I find very interesting is that the people who have bullets in their bodies right now as we speak, for the most part, and the people who have buried their children, and the people who have buried their grandchildren, the people, in other words, who have been directly affected, not just robbed, but someone killed, or they run around with bullets inside their body, they have a whole different view on gun violence and the right to carry. They are saying no. We hear a mother whose child was coming home from school on a CTA bus say that even in spite of what happened to her only son, that she still would not want conceal and carry. The issue in Chicago needs to be, how do we save the lives of our young people? All these young people going to the morgue in body bags every weekend in this city is unacceptable. And to talk about conceal and carry is not the issue in Chicago. The issue is what happens when a 24-year-old who buys a gun. What happens when a 24-year-old go and buy a gun legally and attack a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old or anybody that's underage that cannot buy a gun? Who's going to protect the lives of the innocent? We're talking about me and mine. That's the problem. Chicago we have now this country. It's all about me. It's all about mine. Yeah, we want to protect ourselves, but when we hear police officers say that too many guns on the street is going to make it worse, we need to pay attention. And there needs to be a voice for the youth, for young people, for babies. And how dare people put other people's families' names on statistics? If you haven't sat in those people's shoes, unless you got permission to put that name on there, you have no right to do that. So we need to look at this from a higher level. Yes, we want to protect our own, but that's part of the problem. Everybody into their own, my own, that's me and mine. It's my thing. You know, it's time out for all of that. 5,000 young people get killed in this country every year, and that's a real statistic, and you can look it up. 16 every day. 16 every day. I understand it's the difference between adult and law-abiding citizens. I get that. But there's another problem that needs to be dealt with. And the NRA and all these people benefiting with all this money that they're making on our children's backs. Nobody's talking about that, though.
I understand it.
We have a real problem, y'all. And it's serious, y'all. It's not just a little bit. It's not about your little corner and your little property. Our children are losing hope. Right before our eyes, they are losing hope. They have no regard for adults. They don't trust us. They don't believe in us. And that's a serious problem. We put more guns on the street, we're going to have a bigger problem. So let's deal with the real issues first. Let's deal with the real issues first. Then we can talk about conceal and carry. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a technical
Need to
problem.
be understood, because other people hide. They don't come out and say anything. They just be liars.
Let's go to the speaker here. It's nice that you guys are excited about it. Let's hear. We have about 15 minutes. So.
Hi, my name's Jim. I actually live in Elgin, and I came in because I became friends with Shawn when he had his radio show on WVON. And we disagree on a lot of things, but I respect him, man. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, he voted present when it came to that bill. So I called him up. I said, "Nice vote." He said, "How'd you know?" I said, "Public records." But anyways, for the gentleman here on the far left, you know, Washington, D.C., before they had their gun ban in the 60s, they had a much lower murder rate. And then when the gun ban went in, the murder rate just went up a lot, which was part of the problem. It's part of the whole political thing against reversing it. When you take guns away, like these people are talking about, I feel for the people here that lost their families.
And the homicide rate has gone up since the assault weapon ban is no longer in existence as well as many more police officers are getting killed.
I don't think that's the case.
They ain't using assault rifles.
Anyway, so I think it's Beijing. Anyways, the thing is, you know, like we were talking about, 49 states have it. You're not seeing all these shootouts. I've had friends, like I was accosted once in Florida when they had those rental cars, when you could tell the license plate was a rental vehicle, they had to change it. I had a guy come out and smash the window and take my girlfriend's purse out of the front. You know, I drove off, I hit another car, and I got the heck out of there. But, you know, these things happen. And now that people can carry, you know, like the other gentleman said, these guys come up here, show them like that, oh, see you later, they walk away. You know, and that's the thing. When you when you take things away from people that allows them to protect themselves, society suffers overall. And law-abiding people, like myself, I've got guns in my home. You know, I teach my kids how to shoot. You know, they're responsible people. They don't abuse the law. And that's the history of those that do things properly. Thank you.